There's a wonderful book with a translation of her hymns and her work, as well as some background on her by Sophus Helle, if anyone's interested. I think it's just called Enheduana. And she lived around 300 BC. She was also the daughter of a king, King Sargon, possibly the founder of the world's first empire. The first Akkadian speakers that appear in the written record come from that era as well. Because his empire expanded broadly, she was installed in Ur, again, southern Iraq, to help consolidate his power in the area. So she wasn't just a figurehead. As a priestess to the moon god, she had various cultic and religious roles, but also administrative roles that meant she controlled quite a lot of land in the area on behalf of the king and the temple. So she, I think, is a really interesting figure that can tell us that the sources from ancient Mesopotamia are far from silent on women, so much so that the first named author is actually a woman. The works by her, they're copies from later periods, so it's not as straightforward as there are copies from 2300 BCE, but still, she's the first one who gets named, which I think is really interesting.
It's funny because I'm listening to you say that, and my impression of her as you spoke changed over time.
Yeah.
Because you're like, she was the first author in history. And I'm like, oh my God, sounds like an incredible person.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hang out with her. And you're like, she was the son of a king, probably the first emperor ever. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. He invented empire. And I'm like, okay, great. And you're like, oh, no, don't get me wrong. She wasn't just an intellectual hang out at home. No. She ruled over people. No, this wasn't just an administrative thing. She did some active ruling.
Maybe not.
I like her so much.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, but I think the interesting thing about her, though, is that it tells us that women weren't just background noise, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
the
for
sentence
sure.
made no sense, but I totally hear you. Yeah, not every first is a good first. But yeah, also, if we go forward in history a couple hundred years, there was a vast trade network between sort of 1900 and 1600 BCE, or 2000 and 1600 BCE. And today we call this the Old Assyrian period, to situate it in the kind of broader history of ancient Assyria. And during this period, women in the heartland of Assyria would weave these incredible textiles, and they would send them north, a 5-week donkey ride, essentially north, to family members or business partners in what is now Turkey. I mentioned one earlier called Lamasi. What I love about this era is that we have over 20,000 documents that tell us about this kind of trade network and people's everyday lives. And many of the letters are from women to their brothers or their husbands or whoever else in Anatolia, telling them about life back home. And I think that's another interesting kind of window onto the lives of women, working women, women who were part of this kind of trade network, and not just part in the sense that they were making it possible for other people. They were making the actual products that were getting traded.